Well, what's up, guys? It's Lexicon Tom. It is time for video deconstruction. So, a couple of weeks ago, I visited my good friend Chris in Florida, Naples, Florida, specifically. What did we do? We recorded a video on the beach with a couple of phrasal verbs that are rather tough to get down correctly, to use, to execute correctly. And I think it turned out really well. And we're also going to go through some of the pronunciation points. So I'm going to point out some interesting things that he and I said that are unique to native speaking. So without further ado, let's get going. So, how would you explain chalk up?
Chalk up is a harder one. I think it's to accept something, usually to accept something that is negative to you. So to chalk up something as a loss.
Now remember, chalk it up. Imagine you're writing it on a piece of paper. You're making it official. Chalk it up. Make it official.
I had a job. I had to chalk it up as a loss. I thought it was going to cost $500. Cost way more. And I had to eat it.
So he said, Ida. So he didn't say I hadda. Ida. So this is a couple of things. One is clear reduction of the vowel, had, to ud, ida. And then, of course, we have the dropping of the H completely, which is very common in North American English. You don't hear the H at all. Ida. When I was a kid, I had a bicycle. I had a trampoline. I had a scooter. I had a skateboard. I had a... So you're not going to hear had from a normal native American speaker, okay? Another thing I wanted to point out is what he's talking about. So he had a job that required a quote. So he is a handyman. If you don't know what a handyman is, that is someone who does a wide variety of repair and construction jobs, from fixing a hole to completely restructuring a wall. So he has to guess or make a quote of the price, of the overall price. And what happened was he was off. He was really off on the price, and he ended up having to eat it or pay the extra cost because he quoted his client $500 when it was really $850. And what do? You have to eat it. He had to chalk it up as a loss, literally, in his finances. So that's what he's talking about there. Let's continue. Have you ever eaten it trying to pull off a trick or stunt?
Oh, all the time. All the time, man. I've eaten it running down the beach trying to get back to my car before I got a parking ticket. Sometimes you just trip over some sand.
I've eaten it running down the beach. Two things here. Eaten it. That is a glottal stop. There is no T right there. I've eaten it. And then, of course, we have running down the beach. This is a classic case in natural speech. Running, going. He says this a lot. I say this a lot too. Running, going, having. We don't finish the full ing. Running, having, going. And why do we do that? Well, it's almost certainly to speak faster with less effort. Right, guys? And one more time.
I've eaten it running down the beach trying to get back to my car before I got a parking ticket. Sometimes you just trip over some sand.
Did you hear that? Try and do. Okay, so what do we have there? Trying reduced to trying. To, what happens to? Do. Try and do. Again, that T disappears, becomes a D. Of course, North American, I believe Australian as well have this. Try and do. Trying to. So that is a classic reduction right there.
And you execute it perfectly.
You pull it off. You could also pull off that sweater, couldn't you?
I could, but it's getting kind of cold. Even though we're on the beach and we got palm trees, still gets cold here.
That's funny. I was referring to, like, does it fit you, right? Can you pull it off?
See, I could pull it. I think I am pulling it off with this hat, too.
I would say so, too, and that was what I was trying to say. I was not implying that you were not pulling it off. So how else would you pull off? How else could you pull off? Would you, could you, did you? There's that did you, could you again. Now, of course, you don't have to sound like this, but that's what you're going to hear. So keep that in mind. So there you go, guys. Think about how many phrasal verbs there are and how many different meanings. And you have to remember that even we can get thrown off by hearing a phrase and we think of a different thing. These are tricky. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just keep practicing. We want to keep practicing, all right? Crazy language.
It is. Well, as long as you practice, you need practice. If you don't practice, you might as well chalk up English as a loss because it's not going to happen.
As long as you, reduction, classic reduction, as long as you practice. Remember, as long as you is equivalent to provided that, which is equivalent to just a fancier if, as long as you practice. So that, guys, was my video, my deconstruction video of the day. So I hope you enjoyed it. Pay attention to these native speakers. Think about these when you're watching videos, okay? Because you have to start thinking about these sounds because one day you're going to come across a very fast colloquial speaker and you're going to need these strengths to pick up what they're saying, right? So that was my video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. It's really gonna help you. It's gonna help me too. I hope to see you next time. So click and subscribe. Whoop!